Chapter 4. The Ultimate System. Jason stood at the threshold of his surreal new reality, his mouth gaping in astonishment at the nightmarish landscape that stretched out before him. It was a scene straight out of a post-apocalyptic horror film. The sky that should have been teetering between orange and peach, carrying the warm and vibrant sweet sense of sunset, now seemed to have been soaked in blood, giving the sky a crimson-red hue, emitting an ominous feeling. The city he once knew had transformed into a grim spectacle. Buildings, once filled with life, were now crumbling ruins, some still smoldering from fires, and others covered in graffiti that hinted at the chaos that had unfolded. The streets were littered with debris, abandoned cars, and the eerie silence of a world devoid of human activity. "Whoa, what the fuck happened here?" Jason said as he surveyed the desolation around him. The city that had once been a thriving metropolis was now a haunting shell of its former self. Calming himself down, Jason took a few moments to assess his physical situation. He noticed after the transformation wore off that his broken ankle seemed to stop hurting. He noticed this when he was fighting the last few creatures before exiting the bar. He pulled his pant leg up to inspect the wound and moved his foot around, discovering the bones were no longer broken. He then checked his face. His nose was also no longer broken. Wow, this was so unexpected, Jason thought. The information detailing the transformation forgot to mention a healing factor as a side effect. Shoot, I'm not going to complain. I really needed this in the worst way. Just then, as if right on cue, the status window popped open.
System update. You have gained in power and unlocked passive skills. Level 3. Strength 24. Agility 26. Health 28. Stamina 28. Speed 29. Magic 21. Class none. Passive skills: Fearless Demeanor, Quick Thinker, Probability Master. Active skills: none.
As Jason reviewed his status window, his face wore different expressions. A mosaic of disappointment and confusion were pasted on his face. It feels good seeing my stats increasing. However, still after killing a level 5 ghoul and multiple lower ones, why am I still only at level 3? He shook his head in disappointment. Also, what the hell is up with this system? It pops up when it wants to. I wonder if I can bring it up on command, he thought.
You seem to be lost and confused. I think I can explain things.
A voice suddenly said. Who the hell is that? Jason scanned the area as he couldn't figure out where the voice was coming from.
Can you not hear my voice in your head, silly? I am the system that's been linked in your head. I've been showing you information this whole time. Anyway, you may call me Mira.
Wait, hold on. Since when does a system have a consciousness? I have never heard of a system being able to do this before, Jason said in confusion.
Oh, I think I see why you are confused. You are comparing my system with those detailed in those books you humans call light novels. I sometimes wonder how the writers of such books get their inspiration, because most of it seems incorrect. So I would like to explain, I am no ordinary system that most hosts find themselves linked up with. I am a sentient being, one who can communicate details with my host. I just don't only speak, I also give guidance to my host and improve his or her senses to make them stronger than their peers. I am the ultimate system, with boundless potential. I am unique in the entire multiverse. You can summon me anytime, just say, system.
Mira said proudly. Every word sounded like it possessed great weight.
Although I don't know how I was linked with you, I do need to relay some pieces of information to you.
The system said. Jason sat down with his legs crossed, focused on the consciousness in his head, and had a serious expression on his face, not wanting to lose the slightest details. Seeing the surprisingly serious look on the face of the young man who was her host, the system continued.
Your world doesn't seem normal at all to me. The apocalypse that befell this world is the strangest that has ever occurred in the universe. First of all, there were no prior signs that an apocalypse would occur. Nothing like floods, night turning to day, or vice versa day to night in an instant. The manna of this world didn't awaken gradually. It seemed to have awakened all at once, as if a powerful being at a higher god tier level tampered with your world.
The system said. Whoa, Jason said exasperatedly. Hold on, Mira, I have a personal question for you. What happened to your voice? You sound different. You don't sound as cold as you did up until now. What gives?
Oh, that. Haha. Well, this is a normal occurrence. I sounded cold, as you say, due to the fact I wasn't fully assimilated into your consciousness until now. So now all of my options have been unlocked. Now you get to enjoy my empathy filter, which makes my speech patterns sound more human-like. Anyway, it looks like I have distracted you from your urgent plan. Weren't you going to check on your mother? You should go now while the current area seems to be somewhat calm. I have taken the liberty of creating a map using your memories. I created a route in which you can very quickly make your way to the hospital your mother is currently in. To access the map, simply say, Map.
At that moment, the system went away. Jason got up from the floor, dusted off his pants, and got ready to start his journey to the hospital. Jason then said confidently, Map. A transparent map overlay appeared, showing a red X marker point for the destination, and blue arrow that indicated his current position on the map. Even cooler than just the ability to have a map overlay was the fact that there were what appeared to be tiny yellow dots reminiscent of a breadcrumb trail connecting the two markers. Jason then took off, following the illuminated trail at a very high rate of speed. Jason was ecstatic with the level of speed he was now running. It seems the boost in his stats due to leveling up turned Jason into a marathon runner. He made it to the hospital in just under 25 minutes. Before his level up, this run would have taken him closer to an hour. After taking a few minutes to catch his breath, Jason walked up to the main entrance doors. Unfortunately, due to the mayhem that ensued today, it was no surprise to Jason that the doors wouldn't open, since there was clearly no electrical power going to the door mechanism. However, Jason could see that inside the hospital, the lights were still on. This gave him hope. Taking a moment to inspect the doors closely, he could see he wasn't going to be able to pry them open. So Jason looked around for something heavy to try and smashed the safety glass, since the doors were mostly made of glass with a metal frame surround. He spotted a nearby car that had been abandoned. He did a quick search and found a tire iron that was wedged behind the driver's side front seat. Yes, Jason said out loud, this will do nicely. He then walked up to the doors once again, and using all of his strength swung the tire iron at the doors, shattering the glass pane. He quickly ran to the stairwell, skipping the use of the elevator. His mother's room was only on the 3rd floor. Jason didn't want to risk getting trapped if the elevator lost power. After a few minutes, Jason reached his mother's hospital room. He paused at the door. Jason pushed open the door to the hospital room, the sterile smell of disinfectant hitting him like a wall. His footsteps faltered as his gaze fell on the bed. She lay there, motionless, the crisp white sheet pulled up to her chest, her face pale and unnaturally still. The room was painfully quiet, save for the faint hum of the fluorescent lights above. His mother. For a moment, it didn't feel real. He half expected her to stir, to open her eyes and offer that tired, reassuring smile she always managed, even on her worst days. But she didn't. The heart monitor at her bedside was dark, its screen lifeless. Jason's chest tightened, his breath shallow as he took a shaky step closer. Her hands, folded neatly over her stomach, were cold when he reached out to touch them. The weight of the truth hit him all at once, like a crushing tide pulling him under. She's gone, he whispered, his voice barely audible in the stillness. The words tasted bitter and wrong, as if saying them aloud made them more permanent. His knees seemed weak, ready to give way, but he forced himself to stay standing, to take it all in. The small bouquet of wilting flowers on the bedside table. The faint impression of her head on the pillow. The silence that felt like it would swallow him whole. A single tear trickled down his cheek, wet and hot against his clammy skin. He didn't bother wiping it away. There was no one here to see him break. For a long time he stood there, unable to move, unable to leave her side, because once he walked out that door, it was real. Once he left, there was no coming back to this moment, no undoing this loss. The world outside continued on, oblivious, but for Jason, it was as if time had stopped, and he wasn't sure it would ever start again. Jason felt weak, as if he were ready to crumple to the ground, the pain after the realization that his mother was now gone. As he fell to the ground, the sound of thunder cracked in the distance, accompanied by the sounds of explosions thumping like huge bass drums reverberating, getting ever closer, until... End of Chapter 4.